Hello.
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 Hi, hi.
Hello, everyone. Happy, perfect, square day. Shall we start the call? Okay, let's start with the client update. Um, anyone wants to start? I see Reason.
Yes. Hi, everybody. So right now, about the PeerDAS DevNet 2, Prism is still offline. We had some issues with Grandin, which published invalid data column gossip. And in this case, and this invalid data column gossip was also republished by, I guess, Teku, I guess everybody, but Lighthouse. And in this case, Prism was, because message was invalid, Prism was just disconnecting basically every peers, because Prism peers received 128 invalid gossip message from data columns. So we deactivated the pure disconnection because for that. And also, right now, yes, Prism has a very strange issue when grounding is in the mix. Discovery v5 is really, really, really slow when Prism tries to iterate over peers. And it only happens when grounding is in the mix. We have a workaround for that. It's not a real fix, but something which allow us to participate to the devnets. And also, Prism had some issues when syncing, when the devnet is not finalizing, which is the case actually. I have a fix for that. I tested it locally, and locally I am able to sync again. I tested it for full node. I want to test it for super node before sending before yes, releasing a new version of Prism to the devnet. Yep, that's pretty all for Prism.
Thank you, Manu. Okay, then next one. No start.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, as well as in the channel, So Lodestar was restarted because of some configuration issue of basically the persist pair identity parameter was not provided, which basically put Lodestar nodes into syncing, but then it could not. None of the Lodestar node could sync for the issues that I have already raised in the channel. I'm not sure whether other clients have gotten to see it, but I think few of the clients provided data column at some slot in which there was not a blob, and then there were few clients who did not provide data columns which were supposed to be supernodes, because I checked, and as per the get metadata, they advertised themselves as supernodes, but they were not replying with the data columns. So none of the Lodestar node could sync it. I hope other clients have looked into the issue. I myself have debugged the Lodestar calls and Lodestar processing with Lodestar only nodes, and it seems to be working fine. So since these are the issues mostly from supernodes, so I don't basically see any issue of node ID or data columns or wrong mismatch of data calculated data columns.
Yeah, I wrote something in the chat. I don't know if it is expected, but there is a boot node in the network, and this boot node advertises itself as a super node with a CSC of 128. I think
yes, it is Teku. Our boot node is a Teku boot node, but it's not synced to head.
So for each of the clients I was seeing issue, I posted basically where Lodestar got the error, and so if any of you guys have debugged it, sort of figured that out, because I know that Agnesh Nimbus has been debugging Nimbus response, and yeah, and I also double checked on Lodestar using Lodestar only nodes. So as per my understanding, Lodestar code seems to be working fine.
Thank you, Gajinder. Next we have Eku here.
Teku.
Hi, Dimitri.
Hi. So we have updated Rust KZG, and I have noticed that it's not parallel by default like CKZG. You need to put into a constructor parameter of parallelization. And we don't do this in Teku yet, but I have added an issue, and I see in benchmarks that if it's parallelized good enough like CKZG, it's on par with CKZG. I got the same time in Teku. Also, we have greatly improved our sync. We were sampling slot by slot before during sync, and now we have dedicated sampler for syncing. We investigate into issue with when Teku distributed bad data column sidecars. I have checked everything looks good, and I'm not sure where it leaked. But I have added get data column sidecar REST API, so we could check next time on the node what data column sidecar is in database, does it exist? And I joined the question, I think, Manu asked in channel how to reach REST API of the node, at least your own client node. And also we have added INR field in get peers. We will ask it for it. That's all.
Cool. I can go next. If that's all for Teku. On Lighthouse side, we've identified a few issues on DevNet 2. I think Prism raised one, which is the invalid data columns not getting rejected by Lighthouse. I've confirmed that it's an issue, and we'll fix it this week. And also there's been some observed stuck lookup issues on DevNet. That's why a few of the Lighthouse nodes got stuck with and getting out of sync and not able to recover. Line's been looking into that. I'm not sure if that's been fixed yet. I think another issue was the issue raised by Gajinder. One of the Lighthouse supernode is not serving columns. I haven't had a chance to reproduce it, so I think I'm going to give it a try sometime this week as well. Yeah, so a few issues on DevNet 2. Other than that, I think we're also going to update the Rust KZG library. Kev also told me that there's been some improvement in the computation time. It's been brought down from like an average of 200 milliseconds to 150 milliseconds, so that's pretty exciting. I'm going to give it a try. And other than that, we've also released some testing metrics for PeerDAS with 16 blobs. I've published a blog post. Can share it in the chat if anyone hasn't seen it yet. But that's all from Lighthouse.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anyone from Nimbus here? Anyone from Grandin here? Okay. Next, let's go to the Thursday update. So the client teams have shared some issues. Anyone wants to add something?
So regarding DevNet 2, we are not looking very good. I think we haven't been stabilizing for over like 5 days, and possibly that also causes some issues. I'm not sure if any of the Prism images will be able to sync up to head even when the chain is unfinalized for so long. We could possibly give it some time till the Prism team has a new image ready, and then we could try to come back and try to revive this chain. But otherwise, we could do a relaunch of the DevNet 2 spec and call it DevNet 3, and then possibly do the DevNet 3 spec that we have discussed before with the rebase on top of Spectra DevNet 4 spec for a future PeerDAS DevNet.
Yeah, for Prism. So as I said earlier, I'm able to locally sync to the head. For a full node, for a super node, it's currently in progress. I think it's interesting not to drop the testnet even after a long period of lack of finalization, just to see if we are able to go back to a finalization mode.
Yeah, in that case, I think we can keep the DevNet around for a bit longer and see if we can revive it, and then possibly wait for Spectra DevNet 4 for it to have a final spec, and then we can do the rebase on top of that for the relaunch, possibly 2, 3, or 4 weeks from now.
Out. I mean, for the big side, I think I'm looking at the definite 3 planning document, this one. So I think we can include the 2 PRs to the next release in this week. So that, I mean, so that could be a temporary definite target or whatever it is. Well, and so I'm curious. So, I mean, clients have problems that interrupt definite, but when it is in a solo client environment, did you still having these problems at like not serving columns, things like that? So basically, I wonder if it's a interrupt problem or it's a networking and more complicated problem.
So is the question related to Lighthouse not serving columns? So I missed the question.
No, just generally like all the if it's a solo client environment, I mean solo client network, does it work smoothly as we expected, or we will also facing this similar problems?
We have actually seen that. I've seen that issue on a Lighthouse only network. But I think we could do more testing. I'm not 100% sure if it's like a interrupt problem or a Lighthouse problem. I think it might actually be Lighthouse, but I think I'll do more testing to confirm.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anything else regarding the definite planning? Or
Oh yeah, you
definite
mentioned.
issue?
So shall we? Yeah, you mentioned the PR to decouple network subnets. Yeah, I've raised my thought. Just want to see like what other teams think. I'm kind of interested to hear what people think of it. I mean, decoupling is nice, but I'm just not sure like what the like where is it in terms of priority, because we also have validated class custody coming up, which we want to implement, and I assume that's probably like higher priority. But I'm kind of keen to hear people's thoughts on it.
Would this change be difficult for Lighthouse? Would this change be difficult for Lighthouse?
I haven't really looked into what the change would be. I guess it would be probably the same as everyone else. I don't imagine it being too different.
Yeah, I think the change will not be like huge, right?
Yeah, at least for us, I don't think it'll be that big. It just looks like we would need to have one more layer of abstraction for the network subnets. But other than that, I don't think it's too bad.
Is there any other reason not to do it? Or...
Maybe let's say, do you want to delay the decision to maybe Thursday for the core devs call to finalize it? Or, I mean, I don't want to wonder if people have deadline.
Yeah, I wanted to echo the concerns that Jimmy raised of being an unnecessary abstraction at the moment, because we are unlikely to raise the subnet count for potentially a long time. So yeah, I don't really see the point on having to deal with it now. I know it's not a big thing, not a super strong opinion, but we are fine with what we have now. So trying to minimize complexity when it's not necessary.
Now the client want to come in. I guess that's also depends on the definite 3 timeline, right? So like, do we have more time to, refactor it? Or we want to spend more time on improving network?
We could also possibly just do the rebase on top of Spectra for DevNet 3, and then we could do DevNet 4 with new features, because I think the rebase itself is going to be a significant amount of work for some teams.
I'm curious to know what's the estimated timeline for teams to do rebase. I think Prism's already got it ready. Lighthouse also has it, but we haven't tested it. So there shouldn't be much work for us. What about Teku and Nimbus and other teams? Melissa?
For Teku, we need, I think, 2 weeks at least to rebase on Vectra.
What about Lodestar?
For rebase?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess 1-2 weeks would be fine with us.
Yeah, I think Spectra DevNet 4 will launch possibly next week. And then maybe a week after the Spectra DevNet 4 launches, we can aim to do PeerDAS DevNet 3 launch with the same spec as Spectra DevNet 4 on the consensus spec wise. Unless we need to make a new release for changes. I'm not sure if we're gonna have any changes in PeerDAS that will require a higher consensus spec.
So if Spectra definitely 4 is launching next week, then I'd say we probably won't include Spectra updates in this release, so that we can probably release in today or tomorrow for Spectra. and then next release we have, I mean, it'll be more PeerDAS focused. Does that make sense?
There's one more release scheduled for Pectra, right?
I mean, yeah,
7?
this week we plan to have a release for Pectra this week. So I guess we can we can include this to PeerDAS PRs or not. But if it doesn't matter much for client teams to work on PeerDAS, then and we don't have to include it this rule.
I would actually include the 3893, just so we have the rebase in there, and then client teams can actually test against the same consensus spec as for Pectra 4.
Yep, we can do that. So just delay the decouple one. So
yeah, I would do that. I would focus on just the Pectra rebase, and then we can do the decoupling in a future DevNet when everyone is on board.
Okay, sounds good to me. Yeah, because this release will include some picture updates, and so PeerDAS DevNet has to follow Pectra status after this release. Just FYI, be ready. Okay, I think we got some conclusion. Any objections before we change the subject? Okay, thanks. Okay, any other big discussion or open discussion we want to talk today?
I'd like to follow up on the validated custody change. I don't see any progress on the PI itself. I was wondering whether that's ready for implementation, or are we still doing further research on that? Let me try to find the PR. Yeah, this one. Yeah, so it looks like the last approval was in was the end of August by Alex. I don't know if there's any further progress made to this feature. So I was wondering, when do we want to include this, or do we want to wait for later DevNet?
Is it hard to implement this?
It's some yeah, I think there will be some work. I don't know exactly how much work, but there will be some work. It's not super involved, but it will require some work and some testing. And but the thing is, this is kind of like, I think what Francesco mentioned would be required for us to ship PeerDAS. So would be good to have it completed and tested early.
I have a question about validator custody, and more specifically about validator custody accountability. What's the point to implement validator custody if we cannot guarantee that the node, which are linked to validator clients or to validators, are not penalized if they do not custody the amount of colon they should? I mean, currently with this spec, I guess every client could simply cheat and do not subscribe to the correct, do not subscribe to more than the minimum amount of subnets, even if they have a lot of validators attached to it. There is no penalty basically not to respect this rule, this validator custody rule.
So that's my take. I'm not sure if that's a complete answer, but we only need a sufficient amount of super nodes in the network to provide security. So even if some people cheat, that's fine. We just need enough nodes to not cheat. So yes, if that was a widespread problem, it could become an issue. But I think we can deal with a minor amount. And I would imagine from the point of view of a large operator, the bandwidth savings probably do not offset the development costs of maintaining a fork. Plus there is the, I guess, honesty assumption of operators just wanting to contribute to the chain in a positive way, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I guess the same argument can be done of why isn't everyone playing timing games? Some people are, some people don't. It's a matter of where every single operator lays on the trade-off of, say, grid, technical knowledge, and capacity to execute customizations.
Yeah, but I think playing timing games is a little bit different because the worst case, if you play timing games for you, if you miss the block, and so you have a direct incentive not to play timing game too much. About validator custody, if there is too many people who cheat, we may. I mean, I guess the worst case would be to finalize a block, an unavailable block.
No, I don't think that's the case. Like if we don't have super nodes, the network could stall if we are not able to source the columns. But I don't think we will ever finalize something that's not available.
Oh, I mean, back to the PR. Maybe give people a week to comment, and then we will revisit it. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Anything else you want to comment, or we will move on? Any other topics to discuss today?
Hey everyone, yeah, sorry, go online.
No, please, you speak first.
Yeah, I would like to discuss metric specs. If you had any chance to look through the PR, I'd like to share the link for the dashboard. If you have an access to Itpanda Grafana, you can check this draft dashboard, so you can see some of the metrics for Lighthouse. Yeah.
Katya, would you like to share screen or?
I can't see the. I can actually, but yeah, I can't see the button to share the screen. Do you need? Oh, yeah, I see. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so we already have the draft dashboard, and you can see some of the clients on one dashboard, so you can compare the metrics, and you can filter by the client, for example, Lighthouse. But these are only a few metrics. We have, they are, the names of the metrics are from this PR. We're trying to discuss, so if other clients already have these metrics, but maybe the names of the metrics are different, so you can just rename them and you will see them on the dashboard. And you can compare with the other clients, for example, or check anything else you want. So I would like to discuss the prefixes of these metrics. We already raised a discussion here in the PR. I will share the link. But is it a problem to rename metrics, for example? Because in every client, metrics are implemented differently. For some clients, it's easy just to rename a metric, and for other clients, it can be, for example, enumeration for prefix. So I would like to know what you think of it. And we have 3 types of prefixes: bacon, gossip sub, and lip-p2p RPC. So this, the latest one, lip2p, there was a discussion, should we rename it to recresp or not? So I'd like to know the client's view.
Thank you, Katya. Any comments?
Hey, so as for renaming, I think at least internally in Lighthouse, we consider the remaining of metrics a breaking change because it can break the setups of other people, both alerts and dashboards. So that's going to be complicated, but that's one of the hurdles of any standardization effort. These are the new metrics. Yeah, if they are not used in production, then it should be fine.
Yeah, we definitely
would
discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, we discuss like PeerDAS metrics only.
Okay, then it should be fine. Yes.
I think there are also some like gossip metrics, and some of them could. I'm not sure, but I think some of them potentially in the lip2p library for us. So I don't. If it is, then it will be a bit more difficult to rename.
But I think yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think it would be useful to try to identify the key metrics that we want to standardize. A few of them, things like gossip bandwidth would be, I think it would be interesting to see if all the clients have similar issues, like having the metric collection in the library itself. But for PeerDAS specific metrics, I think it should be a bit easier.
Should PeerDAS specific metrics be prefixed with PeerDAS name, maybe? In that way, we can like nicely identify PeerDAS specific metrics.
I think that will not scale well because then we have to do that every fork.
I mean, the general name of PeerDAS, like it would not be a breaking change, or what do you mean? It wouldn't scale well.
But I think the convention normally is just prefixed with the name of the binary or model of the thing. So in this case would be the proposals that we had, either liquid2p, RPC, Beacon RPC, something like that. If we mix now specific feature, once we move to DAS or some other feature, then we have to persist that nomenclature. Usually we do the model, so liquid2p, RPC, and then the metric that with timing, so data columns, bytes per topic, things like this. So I'm not sure how we could put PeerDAS with respecting the current naming convention.
So we can currently leave it as it is, the naming of these metrics as it listed now in PR.
I think if you're gonna come to consensus on these metrics, it's best to do it on the PR because we don't have full representation of this call of everyone involved.
So we are leaving this PR open for now, right? Because, for example, currently I'm trying to implement some metrics for clients and I use these names I have in this PR. But as it is still not in the production, we can rename them later, for example, or if we agree on something else on other prefixes.
Yeah, I would prefer to not have to rename down the line. So it's best to do good effort now to come to consensus on what makes the most sense and just commit to it.
Yeah, I think, sorry, I think it would be nice if we could break down the PR just to include the PeerDAS specific metric, which is the first section. It contains the dark column KZG custody metrics. I think it would be nice to have that first because those are all new metrics. And the remaining gossip sub and request response metrics are kind of existing ones. So some clients might already have them implemented, so it would be hard to rename them. Yeah, I think we should probably. I think those one will take probably longer to come to consensus, but the first section, the data columns, it might be easier to get them done.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a good
I would say
idea.
as an advice for you, Katia, this is going to be a difficult effort because I think clients already have metrics and probably we all have conflicting naming schemes. So I would recommend you to do outreach with every single client and maybe draft in a doc the current situation with everyone and hopefully find the path of least resistance into something that's somewhat standardized if possible.
Got it. Okay. And what about other clients like Nimbus and Prism? Do you already have some metrics? Do you use them for PeerDAS specifically?
Yeah, so I posted in the channel, but I think for some of these metrics, we have it in a different name. So it's going to be difficult to standardize this because these are like generic prefixes for all P2P messages, across all topics. So, having it different just for PeerDAS is kind of a weird case. But I think some of the much newer ones, like, reconstruction time and stuff like that, that we can standardize on. But I don't think we can standardize on everything.
Yeah, we can start from PeerDAS metrics at least and look what we've got. I think it's a good idea to create to split this PR into small PRs, and probably then you will raise issues for your clients. So yeah, we can try to build a summary dashboard and compare the metrics. Thank you.
You got there.
Could I ask all the client devs to make a comment on this PR or possibly on the new PR with the smaller changes, and just let Katya know what is the corresponding metric name? Otherwise, it's going to be a huge battle for Katya to find those out for every single different client, especially because everything is written in different languages. So it would be just a huge help if everyone could comment. Look through the PR and see which metrics you already have, which ones you don't have, and the ones you have and you don't want to rename, just so we can create a dashboard that would work for every single client, even if it requires a different name. We can just make the dashboard a bit more complex, but this shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah, and I'm also going to update the kurtosis dashboard for PeerDAS metrics. So in this case, if you run kurtosis locally, or you will see the dashboard at once for standardized PeerDAS metrics. So it probably will be helpful.
Also, Lion, you mentioned that you don't want to introduce or you do a rename for specific matrices, matrices, but would you be able to consider to add an additional metric for the same value under a different name?
I'm not sure our code base would support that. We would, I mean, everything is possible, but we would have to, yeah, architect something custom. Look a bit ugly.
Okay.
Could be done, but if we cannot do that, that would be best.
Yeah.
I think we can start from PeerDAS metrics for new metrics, and we'll see the result, how it works together, all the metrics for clients. And I mean, at least before renaming the P2P metrics, we can start from PeerDAS metrics to standardize them.
I think with the existing metrics that teams can't rename, like the RPC bandwidth and the gossip numbers, I think potentially there might be some Grafana features to allow you to map them into the same metrics. But I mean, I'm not an expert, but I think there might be ways around it without having to add the metrics into the client code, or even at Prometheus level.
Yeah, I can check it actually. That's a good point. New fresh
Lion?
blood, new new battle for matrix picks.
Yeah, sorry. I wanted to bring up again this effort led by Michael and Jimmy. I guess you're all familiar with engine get blobs v1. In the context of the current discussions of distributed block building and raising the block count, I think it's an incredibly important feature that we should prioritize, and it has a lot of intersection with PeerDAS. At least I think in, maybe Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, we have already incorporated engine get blobs v1 into our PeerDAS block production flow. So I wanted to know if other clients have even implemented this for Denkun, and if we should start incorporating or testing it for PeerDAS, as it can influence how much can we push things without screwing up solo stakers.
Yeah, so for Prism, we've been discussing the general design on this. It's definitely a priority, but one thing holding us back currently is I don't think all the execution clients have like implemented this. If I'm not wrong, Get hasn't, so it's a bit more difficult to test on our end. But yeah, I would agree. It's definitely something that we should have sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think it will actually be great to ship that before we get to PeerDAS, given that potentially there might be a lob increase in Vectra. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to mention those words, but if we do increase the blob, then we definitely want to have that just to be, I mean, just to keep the network stable, even before PeerDAS. So I wouldn't like kind of. I think it would definitely help PeerDAS a lot more, but it would be nice to even consider doing that before Vectra.
Yeah, I want to say I don't understand why this is not prioritized more. It's a incredibly useful low-hanging fruit that we can do to significantly help the network. Because consider two the other options that has been discussed for solo stakers, such as adding a flag to the execution clients where they say do not ever produce a block with more than 2 blobs, or do not include blobs at all, or only include blobs if they pay a specific fee. If the execution client is smart enough, and with this feature only includes blobs that have been properly propagated to the network, to the home staker, it can include as much blobs as we want with 0 bandwidth cost, which is exactly what we want. Not have solo stakers censoring the network, but have a backbone that can include as much blocks as necessary. And I don't know, to me, that it's just the perfect solution. So I really hope that we can prioritize this as soon as possible.
Do you know why the PR has not been merged? It looks like it's been open for a while.
Well, I guess it's probably the same issue that Katia is facing. We have to come to consensus.
We just need someone
Hey.
that has merge permissions, and then they can merge it.
It looks like it's already been implemented by 3 clients, though. I think on the EL side, and it looks like Ethereum JS has also got a PR open, so maybe just GIF that's left. Yeah, thanks, Virginia.
Thank you. Okay, any comments on it? And if not, any other topics to discuss today?
Has anyone did 7742? EIP7742 to be able to send different number of blobs, target and max to the EL.
So is that in any of the DevNet targets yet?
Not yet, but we could possibly push for it. I heard that Marius is going to implement it in Geth, and then we can start testing that. I'm not sure when it's going to be done from the EL side because it sounds like it's a bit more tricky to implement it on the EL versus on the EL. I'm just curious if any client teams have taken a look, if there's any problems maybe with it. We could also target for like DevNet 4 regarding that. Is the idea to include a new maximum target in the config, by the way, or how are we going to change max? Because if we do that, then every time we want to bump it, we're gonna need to like add a new prefix or something for each fork.
Right. Yeah. For the configuration, for the configure spec, the prefix is required.
So are we gonna have like version 1, version 2, version 3, or what is the plan? Or we just call it by the name of the update and then we do max with that update, like Bactra or whatever the next fork is gonna be called.
I guess it depends on if Pectra will update it, right?
I mean, in the end, we still need a way to increase this down the line. So is it just gonna be like the name of the update with max blob and target blob? Because right now we just have a single value without any prefix.
Right. So do you mean that we should add this configurable parameter in the PeerDAS spec right now? Just for more, yeah, would be compatible.
Yeah, so right now we have max blobs per block, and we don't have any flag for target blobs per block. So it would be good to have something like fulu max blobs per block, fulu target blobs per block. And that way those values can be read by the CL teams and can pass that, assuming that 7742 will be included in fulu.
I can make a draft PR of it to see if it makes sense for the net 4 or yeah.
Or is there any other way we could do this other than set it in the config? Because this is gonna add a bunch of different values if we like want to bump this every single update.
but it's supposed to change at the fork boundary. Then I mean for consensus fix, I don't see there's other option. But client teams might have other fancier configuration settings. I don't know. And anyone wants to share your client implementation? No. Okay. Okay, I will make a draft here, then we will see like, how many lines we will affect. At least from the specs. Okay. So I think we're a bit running out of time. Before we end this call, I want to quickly share updates that Josh Rudolph and I recently looking at how to improve PeerDAS and future PeerDAS project management also. So we brainstormed some ideas. This is a link to describe some like basic things we can do from scratch. So one of this is to create a PeerDAS contributor list, and also we can try to make collect the PeerDAS reading materials research in a more structured way. Hopefully you can make a website or a Notion page like Breakout.info. So this is the initiative. I asked some people to fill in the contributor list, and I will share a form later after this call. Yeah, so if you have any comments, please let me know, or can share it right now, but we are running out of time. Yeah, any thoughts on this? Silence. Okay, thank you everyone. Think let's call it a day. See you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
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 Bye.